What is going on, everybody? We're here and we are live. Geeks and Gamers Daily on Fridays with Ryan and Jay.
Yeah,
Jay, how's it going, man?
it's going good. I think I put on like another 20 pounds eating all this home cooking from grandma and mom and everybody else. This morning I had like pancakes and waffles and eggs and bacon and orange juice and coffee and water and like yogurt. They
Why'd
even
you have
like
so many? Why'd you have so many drinks? Orange juice and
no, they
coffee
just
and water.
so when you go down like so I'm up on the second floor. When you go downstairs, it's like it's all set out on the table. So it's like they just have everything out for you to sit down and then take, it's like,
You're,
God,
you're
man, it
putting on a
feeds
lot of
your
water
mind.
weight because you're drinking so many liquids.
Yeah, peeing like every 5 seconds. So it's what it is. No
Yeah,
complaints, though. No complaints. It's been a while since I've like, had that type of family style stuff going on. So it's pretty neat.
I'm really fucking hungry. So that doesn't make me super happy.
Yeah, sorry.
But no, that's all right. That's all right.
It's pretty good though. I think she's had, how like never really had many visitors in a while. So it's like
That's my
a lot
entire
of stuff
life.
there. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not a big entertainer. I don't like to entertain people that
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
That's
nah, me
okay.
either. I was just like order
Um,
from Dunkin' Donuts and I'm good to go for the day.
Pretty
So
much. But yeah, we got some things to talk about regarding Disney. We all watched. We did the live reaction of Disney dropping under $80 per
yeah,
share yesterday. And things are continuing to get a little more complicated. Disney essentially admitting defeat in a very public way in their battle against Florida, just like so many of us said would happen. They really had no case. And Disney's now dropped almost everything except one federal charge or one federal allegation
and
against the
those
state of
Disney
Florida.
adults are losing their mind. They're losing their mind because
They need to
they're
lose
like
some weight.
because they're like this is gonna destroy everything we love. It's like, yeah, but a month ago they were celebrating like we beat the governor with no problems. It's like, yeah, these people don't know how to read apparently either. So I don't know. There's also like, did you see like the those weird like I think it was an article from CNBC that old colleagues of Bob Iger said he's doing all this on purpose. I could be saying this wrong, but basically saying like they're getting ready to sell it all off to Apple. I've been hearing
Well,
those rumors for months now, but like this article came out just recently, and it was just like, yeah, he's trying to like that's going to be his legacy is to sell it all off to Apple.
so you're half right about it. That is what
Half
a
right.
lot of former and current executives are saying, but I don't think they're saying he's intentionally like sabotaging it. But they think that his
Okay. Okay.
plan is not necessarily to focus on a complete turnaround, but instead is to stay there as long as he can until they sell to Apple. He wants to be the CEO until they do a sale to Apple. The problem is, I don't think Apple's fucking interested.
Yeah.
Like, I never have they expressed any real desire.
Right.
These rumors have been out there forever because I guess Bob Iger knew Steve Jobs. I don't know if he knows anybody who's there now. Like he might still be on one of those like bullshit advisory boards
Yeah.
for Apple, like all these other people share. Who knows? But does
Do you think
Apple want to get into the theme park business? I don't know.
I'm all for it, man. It probably would make their app work. It probably would like maybe they would hire some competent people, but do you,
Well, I
like
mean, listen, Apple already uses slave labor, so it'd be a lot cheaper than what Disney's doing right now. So it sounds perfect. Disney are the ones that thank the Communist Party of China right next to the fucking concentration camps. So Apple and Disney working together, they lower their labor costs, just have a bunch of little fucking 12-year-old Chinese people like doing all their shit. It works.
it'll be much more efficient. Yeah, but if they were to sell to Apple, do you think Bob Iger will get like a compensation fee? Like, or
Um,
all their CEOs would get like a massive payout, buyout or something? Like
who knows? You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Who knows how it would
just
work?
curious how that would work.
And who knows like what kind of stock they have, and if they do something where Apple ends up buying out all of their stock. There's a lot of different ways it could happen. I'm not even going to pretend to have any knowledge of what Bob Iger's actual contract is in terms of things like that. I just don't know. But I, I just, it seems wild. Go ahead.
Bob Chapek.
Bob
Bob
Chapek.
time in Disney was not a pleasant one, apparently, because Bob Iger was still pretty much running the show with all
Yeah,
those
that
twists.
really is what that CNBC article was all about. Like that CNBC article, which we're going to talk a little bit about, is all about how even though Bob Chapek was CEO, Bob Iger was still there. He was still doing some CEO duties. He was still doing all these meetings. He was still kind of in charge. He stayed in his office, the biggest office there, because he didn't want to give up his private bathroom and shower. And Bob Chapek basically moved down the hall on the same floor into a little closet
Yeah.
and like put a laminated "I'm the CEO" sticker on the door. Like, I, it's pretty sad. Bob Chapek really got the short end of the stick in a lot of ways.
I mean, in him leaving though, he got a big fat paycheck though. So, but no, it's just that's crazy to me because all this perusals and everything. Jeremy been saying that, Ryan just saying that Bob Iger never really left, but when the lockdowns were coming, it just looks like he got scared and didn't want to affect his legacy, so he stepped down before all this nonsense and goes, let this other guy handle it and be the fall guy for everything wrong with this company that I foresee is coming. So, and then after a few years, he's like, all right, let's do a little coup here and get my job back and get rid of this other doofus that did nothing. But the one thing that Bob Chapek is like, I guess, famous for was that cringy video where he got caught, with virtue signaling and all that stuff, apology. It was
Oh,
awful,
when he was
man.
like apologizing to all the
Yeah,
gays at Disney.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, when you could tell there was clearly just a dude with like rainbow colored hair pointing a gun at him, like right at a camera view. Just be like, please get on your knees and suck the gay cock for us and say that you're going to stand up to us against DeSantis. Yeah, and I think in retrospect, it's easy to look back and see the shocking stepping down of Bob Iger right before the pandemic really took off. It's easy to like look at it now and be like, clearly he was just temporarily stepping down to get out of harm's way. Obviously, it wasn't that certain at that time. It still was weird. I remember that because I think I was in Indiana at the time, and it was fairly late when it came out. I was at an Airbnb, and I had just driven like 10 minutes. I'm about to go to a bar, just have a couple drinks. And as I'm driving, I get a fucking alert that like Bob Iger's stepping down at Disney. I fucking whipped a U-turn, came right back and recorded in my shitty Airbnb. And yeah, that was wild when that all went down.
Well, I and correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he stepped down, and then it was like 4 or 5 weeks later. That's when the NBA shut down, and then it just like started to. It was just like he stepped down like crazy. It's like, wow, that's weird. Okay, well, he's just gonna. Everybody had their theories. He's gonna run for office. He's gonna do this. He's gonna do that. Then all of a sudden, like, all the fun activities began happening. In 2020. So, or 2019 when things just started shutting down.
I'm
And then
trying to
we didn't even think about Bob Iger for a minute. It was mentioned every now and then, but because of all the other craziness going on. But you trying to find the exact day?
Iger stepped down as CEO in February of 2020, right? Which
Yeah,
is, if you go look at Disney stock in March of 2020, is that massive fall off because that's
yeah.
when they announced, by the way, the whole country's closing down, theme
Yep.
parks are closing down, box office theaters are closing down, everything. Um, and somehow, some way, Disney, which is one of the reasons they're getting sued right now by investors, convinced
Yeah.
everybody that Disney Plus was just going to be this incredible thing. And despite not having all these revenue sources, their stock went up because of the Disney Plus. People thought, oh, streaming is just going to be incredible, guys. And since that time, since the high of what $190, it's fallen over 100 points.
And right now, you can get Disney Plus for $1.99.
Bro, that's insane. Like
$1.99, brother.
you're trying to tell me that they're not panicking or that they're not like that they're not desperate to get people to watch Little Mermaid, Ahsoka. I know, I get it. People that are
Rebels.
big fans of Ahsoka, people that are Clone Wars fans, Rebels fans, they're very passionate. They're very loud on social media because oftentimes they're the ones that have 23 years old, autistic, he, him, trans flag, a Rex cartoon profile picture, and they just post constant fan cams. I get it. I know that there's a lot of people like that that are going to be very excited about the show, that you're going to have a lot of social media activity. However, despite all that social media activity, it did not translate to ratings for the premiere, even though if you look at the social media analytics, they had a same amount of impressions as stuff like Obi-Wan or Mando season 2, but the ratings weren't there. And people can bitch and moan as much as they want. A lot of y'all are retarded, and that's why Disney put out that 14 million views statement to try to trick idiots, because there's a lot of idiots out there. And then they come back and say, well, look, didn't you see? There's a chart that says it beat Netflix that week. It's literally from Samba, which is the same chart that tells you that it got half the views of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So if you want to accept that one, you have to accept that it got half the views of Obi-Wan, half the households tuning in, we'll put it that way, and a 30% drop off from Mando season 3. And yes, it did beat literal no-name Netflix shows. Congratulations. We'll see what the spin is when the Nielsen ratings actually come out.
It's time to celebrate.
But anyway, yes, you're right, Jay. They are offering Disney Plus $1.99 for 3 months. They're basically giving it away. Shout out to the 199. Maybe that's where Disney got the idea.
Exactly.
Like this is, let me see if I can find it right here. Yeah, Disney temporarily lowers the price to $199. Now, this is stuff that happens when a streaming service just starts off or stuff like that.
Right.
$1.99 for 3 months of Disney Plus. I mean, and they're trying to entice you. They're being like, hey, come watch The Little Mermaid. Come watch Ahsoka. Come watch Elemental. We got all these great things coming to streaming. They are desperate for an influx of subscribers because they've lost almost 20 million subscribers over the past 9 to 12 months.
Well, that's the thing too. It's because they could take those numbers and take them to wherever, I guess, and say, look, hey guys, man, Disney Plus is doing great. We've just added another 10 million subscribers. Well, obviously, you're charging $1.99. You know? That's well done for 3 months. Is there a catch to that where you have to like sign up for a whole year, or is it just like it's like a?
I don't believe so. I think it's
I don't
just
either.
hey. I don't think it's like you have to sign up for a whole year. I think it's $199 for 3 months, and then after that, it jumps to $7.99. This is also, by the way, an effort to increase the people that are sub to their ad-based tier because they make way more money on their ad tier than they do on the premium tier. So it's hoping they can get a bunch of people to sign up for $1.99 and that some of them stick around for that ad-based tier and they can make money off them.
We're going right back where we were with cable TV. It's basically all this is. It's like, I guess they thought in their mind, like, we can get 100 million people subscribed at $10. Look at all that money that comes in monthly. And now we're going right back to where we were. Just get cable or YouTube TV with ads and just watch the same stuff that you're paying monthly. Didn't work out too well. I just wonder if it's like because it was just like streaming got oversaturated with stuff. You know, everybody was doing streaming at that point. I mean, there was at one point you had like the Wrestling Network, then you had the HBO, and then there's Netflix, of course, was always top tier. And yeah, Peacock. Now Apple has their own streaming stuff going on, and Disney Plus adds that. It's pretty wild. It just then if you add all that together, if everybody has all that Hulu and everything else, I guess you can go on and on. You probably end up spending more than you would on some basic cable that we used to have. But here
The
we are.
the problem is they saw, oh, look at Netflix. Look at all these views they're getting. Look at all this stuff they're pulling in. But it's because there wasn't as many streaming services and people like they were already getting shit that was done. Hey,
That's the
you have
thing. Yeah.
9 seasons of Arrow. Go watch them and binge them here on Netflix. You have 8 seasons of Suits. It's all this stuff that's been pre-made that Netflix is not having to fork up $100 million per season to make with no promise that it's actually good, right? Like you have on traditional linear television, shows got canceled all the fucking time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hey, we're going to make a show. We're going to make a 13 episode season. You got a pilot gets picked up, blah, blah, blah. We'll see how it does. Half chances and probably just get shit canned. Now, that's not what's happening. And you have all these streamers that are having to make their own content because now that they're doing it themselves, they just have their content. You don't have all these other things that people like. You're having to keep them subscribed week after week, which means you have to keep new content coming. And it's a nightmare because Netflix didn't have to do all that production cost, whereas all these other individual streamers, that's exactly what they're having to do. Now,
And is
obviously,
that
Netflix got into original content, but
right?
that was never the bulk of what they did. That's something that they got into and obviously had some success with it and have had some failures as well. But the bulk
That's
of what they did was just buying up the rights to air something that they knew had demand for it already.
and a fan base, yeah. But that's probably exactly why we see on Disney Plus and others that they do like the Ahsoka series week to week to keep making sure that if people are hooked in, if they're getting ready to cancel, they'll stay with it. Which Netflix just dropped everything at one time. So, force
Speaking
Ryan to watch One Piece.
speaking of Netflix, here's the Netflix shill, Yellow Flash, who won't stop talking about One Piece, even though apparently he's never seen the anime or whatever. It's an anime, right?
You're asking the wrong person.
Me
I
and
think there's
Jay have
like
about the same level of anime knowledge.
I think there's like 1,000 episodes of animation for One Piece. So
I should call it 1,000 piece then.
yeah,
Um,
there it is.
yeah, we'll see. I don't see myself. It looks goofy and weird, and I got enough stuff to watch. All right, I got enough goofy
I was
weird
supposed to
shit
be
to
start. I
watch.
was gonna start it like on Wednesday, but I haven't. I think I might watch the first episode today. It's about pirates becoming the pirate king, apparently. So kind of piqued my interest a little bit.
Oh,
We'll
there
see
you
how
go.
that goes. We'll see how that goes. People in the
Yeah,
chat saying it's fun, it's cool. They said this is a weeb panel. Are we a weeb panel because we don't know anything about anime?
this is the opposite of a weeb panel.
Oh, okay.
I think weebs are people that are into anime. We got a couple super chats to get through. Doug B for $50. What up, Doug?
Doug.
I always love watching RK3PO Friday. You should consider that
Hey,
name for the Friday show.
it's always been a thing. We
We
even
did,
had
we
a
did a
little
couple
intro at one point.
RK3POs.
Yeah,
I
had a cool little intro.
don't think I have it here because this is the Geeks and Gamers StreamYard. But
Yeah, I have it on mine.
mhm. We
Usually when
did a
you're in the
couple
chat.
shows fucking 3 years ago, RK3PO.
Yeah,
Nobody fucking watched, so we stopped doing it.
we realized we didn't have any time either.
This is true. But thank you, Doug B. Japanese Demon Lord of Beer Lucifer for 5. The Godzilla show has a trailer out, and so does Lawman Bass Reeves. The culture shift is happening quickly. Lawman Bass Reeves. Well, I
Yeah,
think this might be what you sent me, right, Jay?
yeah,
This
for Apple
trailer.
TV.
You know, Apple TV did put out this trailer. I have no idea what the fuck this is. I'd never heard of this before, but Jay sent it because he wanted to react to it.
I haven't
And
seen it either. I just looked through the comments, and it's like even our own Josiah Rises was like, "This looks really good." That's a little shocking.
well, Josiah does love diversity, so
Yeah.
we'll see. Let's watch it. When monsters emerge, secrets follow. And this is from Apple TV. Monarch premieres November 17th on Apple TV. Here we go.
I don't know if this will get to you. I hope so. I can't go back in time and fix all the mistakes I made. But maybe I could leave something for the future. A legacy.
A lot of
The
names in
world
this.
is on
Yeah.
fire. I decided to do something about it. Hopes, dreams, ambitions. The mission was to protect their world and ours. It's what we wanted Monarch to be. Instead of chasing monsters. If you come with me, you'll know everything, I promise.
Wow. Doesn't look like that Marvel CGI.
It's wild how many random Godzilla projects are going on. We just had Godzilla vs Kong. There's another one of those coming up at some point, I think.
Right.
We've got that Godzilla Zero or whatever it is, that Japanese one that's coming out soon that people are raving about. And now
Yeah.
you've got this Monarch Legacy of Monsters. I wasn't expecting Kurt Russell to
Kurt
show
Russell,
up,
man.
especially a random DH Kurt Russell.
Yeah, look at that.
Is that DH or is that like
A different actor.
Yeah, maybe he's got a son or something that looks a lot like him. I'm not sure, but it's probably the DH stuff because they're using that all the time. But yeah, I don't know anything about this. I don't have Apple TV. I've never watched anything on Apple TV. Overall, it looks fine. I think, one of the challenges that all these monster movies face is people just tend to care about the monsters and not really about the people and the storylines surrounding the people. So I guess this is the first look we've got at it. So who knows?
Well, that's what we were talking before the show. Companies like Apple have the money to produce, if this show is good and not, weird, but if they have the money to produce amazing shows with good CGI and everything else, they have money to burn on these streaming services. It's like you said, it was like a side project. So,
and people are saying that this is Wyatt Russell, his son, who's the guy from Falcon Winter Soldier. He looks so much like a young Kurt Russell. My God.
yeah, he does.
So yeah, it is his son right there.
But he was the discount captain, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that John Goodman?
It is. That's what I'm saying. Like so many random people in this.
My God, I thought he was dead. Sorry, John. I thought he had passed away.
Well, now I'm looking up just to make sure he's not dead. He's still alive. He's still alive. He's still alive. Yeah, looks cool. I mean, I don't have Apple TV, but hey.
I don't either. But yeah, it's like Apple, like you were saying, Apple has the money to not worry about subscriber numbers, correct? So they could put some quality stuff out there and not really have to go out on Twitter and say 17 million people watched our premiere of the Godzilla show.
Apple can play the long game, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they do have a lot of money. I want to know if that's the same. It does look really similar to the way John Goodman looked in the Kong movie. He was in Kong Skull Island with Brie Larson. And his outfit looks really fucking similar. So I guess they're connecting those two. It's going to be like an extension.
That's interesting.
Which is weird. So I don't know how to keep track of these fucking timelines. Does this
People
fit
in the chat
into
are saying they're saying it's connected?
So yeah, that's what I'm asking. Is this connected to the Godzilla vs Kong that we just saw? Basically,
interesting.
It's in the MonsterVerse. Okay, well, there you go. Well, if Bree shows up, then I'll. If Bree shows up, I might watch. We'll see.
Might have to get that Apple TV. It's gonna be interesting.
I mean, I probably won't get Apple TV.
Everyone's saying it's connected, and we're normies. So you, me, and the movies were like, you guys are normies. Well, I'm
I
not.
don't like. I had no idea what this was. I didn't even know it was a Godzilla or a King Kong thing. Jay sent it to me in a DM and said react to it, and it's the
Yeah.
first I've heard of it. So I'm not big into the. I'm not big into the like Godzilla vs Kong shit. I think it was fine. It was just like a dumb fucking action movie, but I'm not invested in those things. Same with like Kong Skull Island. I give it a chance, but I just don't really like the big monster movies, to be honest.
Yeah, and the ride ain't that great at Universal either. Just
That ride
FYI.
sucks, dude. There's way too much
it
3D garbage.
it's one of Krista's favorite rides, but it's for what it is. It's just you're in a bus and it's just movies. It's less like big screens on the other side, and you're like riding in a bus. So you got to look back and forth.
I saw someone say that was Jack Black. No, like that was a different King Kong movie with Jack Black. You remember that one?
That's an older one.
Every 10 fucking years they do a King Kong movie.
That's the older. I like the King Kong versus Godzilla movie. I loved it for what it was. And then like King Kong sat on the throne at the end. I think something like, or he was sitting on a big chair. Correct me if I'm wrong. I like those movies for what they were. It's just a fun, dumb ride. So, the ride sounds dumb. Yeah, yeah. You listen. You wait in a long, dark line, and then they give you 3D glasses, and then they put you on like a bus, and the bus drives a little bit, and it just literally connects to like two 3D movies on the side, where it makes it seem like you're going fast, and that dinosaurs are out to get you, and King Kong comes and saves the day. And you get shot with water when like a bug explodes. So you're just kind of like, oh, all right. That's pretty much it. Anyone can ride that. There's not even seatbelts on that thing.
We'll see. Maybe this will be a lot of people tuning into Apple TV for this Godzilla stuff. We'll see.
Well, they
All
also
right.
did another one that everybody liked, Tetris, right? Isn't Tetris on Apple TV? And that was a show that everybody was talking about, saying it was really, really good.
They have a
So
lot of like critically acclaimed stuff, but I don't know what their viewership looks like. Like how many subs does Apple TV have? I don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
Apple
I
TV
don't have it either. But
subscribers. Roughly 25 million, right? Like
what is Apple TV saying? Like $5, $5.99, something like that.
I don't know. The idea that there's, you know, 25 to 30 million Apple TV subscribers, that's a pretty small. Like that's very small. That's about half the size. Yeah, a little better than half the size of Hulu. Now Hulu's obviously big and has a lot of shit, but I expected Apple TV to have a little bit more, to be honest with you.
But their Apple TV is their own shows, though, right? They're not adding stuff that's already been created like Netflix. So it's just
Right.
literally
It's a lot of original content.
their very own content. So you know,
Um, all right, let's get to a couple more of these. Japanese Demon Lord Lucifer for 5. Oh, we just said that, the Godzilla show. Jay's Milkshake brought me to the yard for $1.
hey,
Thank you. Atomic Patriot for 2. Disney feeling the consequences of their actions. Matthew Hammond, member for 2 months. Would it not make sense for Apple to buy Comcast Hulu shares instead of buying Disney outright?
I have no idea.
Why? Well, all right. So, would it? Are you talking if Apple wants to get in the? Why would Apple not just buy 1/3 of Hulu instead of buying all of Disney? Those are like such very different things. So I don't really know what you mean. Like, what would make sense?
I just have this thing like if Apple wanted to own Disney, they would just sit around and go, "Hey guys, you just want to buy Disney and see how it goes for a few years?" Like almost just like we've got all this money. Let's just do something with it. Like, you all want to see if we can run a theme park and change it up and see how it goes. If not, I, Apple, like, I could be dead wrong, but to me, if Apple were to buy all of Disney and things just didn't go the way, I could see them just selling off bits and pieces. Just being like, oh, hey, you guys want Lucasfilm? All right, you guys can have that. All right, you guys want the theme parks? All right, you can have that. You can have that. We'll sell that off. You guys want this? All right, we'll keep this part, and you guys have that. Oh, That's something I could see them doing without hesitation. So that would be freaking wild.
The problem is all the different rights. We talked about this a little bit
Yeah,
yesterday.
exactly.
Like, if Disney sells some of their IPs or something, well, they have all those characters built into their theme parks. So you need
Yep.
to work out some sort of licensing deal for a long time. You know what I mean? So I just don't know how a lot of that would work. KCW for 199. Jay, have you opened the door for Brandon yet? 199.
Not yet.
Who's Brandon?
Are you talking about? Are you talking about the president?
Oh, maybe. Like, I thought it was the name of a pet or something that you were going to kill.
No.
Jack Hudson for 15 months. Good morning to all. What's up, Jack? Project Taco for 10. Harry Potter nerds. Activate Siri and Android. Use Google Voice Command. Say Lumos. You're now a wizard. P.S. I'm an Alex Stein Chow rat recruiting more rats for the chat rat Alex Stein army. Thank you, Project Taco. We love Alex Stein.
Yeah. Guy has more energy than he knows what to do with.
So Google can, you say Lumos? I guess I'll try that later. Shitface Cockmaster for 5. Hey, love y'all. So glad there's Star Wars fans that aren't complete soy boys. Long live the fandom menace in the 199. First super chat. Thank you very much.
What a name.
Yeah. Shitface Cockmaster. Yeah, Star Wars. It's an interesting discussion right now for Star Wars. Me and Jay were talking a little bit about this before the stream. The Ahsoka series is out, and I feel like if you did not watch all of Star Wars Rebels, you're probably really in the dark about anything that's going on. And I think there needs to be a little bit better of a balance for the general audience to understand what some of this stuff is, why they should care about the characters, why they should care about some of this stuff. And I'm not saying sit there and hold your hand and walk you through it, but I'm saying give some sort of tiny exposition, a Cliff Notes version of stuff that happened in order to make people who didn't watch Rebels, didn't watch a cartoon series that aired on Disney XD, some context for some of the things that are going on. Now, I mean, I am all about all this niche shit. I'm a niche Star Wars fan as well. Star Wars Expanded Universe. I read every single novel, a lot of the comic books, most of the kids' books, almost every Star Wars video game that's out there I've played, right? So I'm into that stuff. I've also watched all the Star Wars Rebels. But the general audience, I just think is going to be lost and not really understand some of the stuff that's going on. What do you think, Jay, as a normal audience member?
Yeah, I'm completely confused. If I didn't know, like,
now you don't, to be fair, you can't even remember some of the people's names that have nothing to do with Rebels that are just characters in the show.
True, but I should be able to gain like some general, like, at the end of this episode, she wakes up apparently in the world between worlds. I knew what that was just literally following what people were talking about. So, and I do have, like, on my crack team of panels, one of them's in the chat, You, Me, and the Movies, that are Rebels fans. So they were able to educate me on things like that. So, but you know, it's such a, like, again, the only thing I knew about Thrawn was that Heir to the Empire that's no longer relevant, you know, like back then. So, like, who cares about Thrawn right now? Like, what is why are we worried about him? You know, and so I don't even know, like, why is he such a bad person in this world and stuff like that. And who cares about it? Like, what's Ezra? Who is, like, why does this Sabine care about Ezra so much?
Yeah.
You know, like who is he? And how does this green general have a son that looks nothing like her? Like, how did that work out? He apparently has green hair. That's all he got from his mom. So
yeah, and I think that there's, and here's the thing, I think that there's some valid criticism. I also think there's some criticism that's coming through a lot of ignorance from people. Like Ahsoka crossing her arms. That's all that bitch does in the cartoon. She crosses her arms. Like, that's just a known thing that she does. But a lot of people see it in live action and they think, wow, look, Ahsoka always crossed her arms like a standoffish bitch. It's like, that's kind of part of her character. So like they're pretty accurately representing things like that from the cartoon. Same thing when it came to the mural in the first episode or whatever it was. Well, a lot of people are like, what the fuck is this? What? It's literally from Rebels. You know what I mean? So I think there's some valid criticism. I think there's some not valid criticism when it comes to the show. Overall, I think there needed to be a better balance, something to reward Rebels fans and those people that are like so in tune with it, that have followed it, that are very passionate, but also at the same time, a little bit more exposition and understanding for people, the vast majority of the audience who didn't watch a cartoon series that was targeted towards children on Disney XD and with just like no context provided. I think there needs to be a better balance there to get the general audience to connect with it. That's my personal opinion on what we
Well,
have
there's
going
a
on in
drinking
Ahsoka.
game. There's a drinking game now with the Ahsoka series. Every time she crosses her arms, she take a shot. So some people were like, I can't keep doing this drinking game because she does it way too much. But like, this is like the whole thing. Like, the one big explanation that I needed was stuff about like witches and like why the heck was that, Inquisitor just a fart, once he got cut open, he just kind of farted out and turned into smoke. It's like, so can they just make those things like whenever they want? Can they just do their little witch magic, and make an Inquisitor that
Well, I
can.
think the real question is if Morgan Elsbeth has always been a Dathomiri witch, then why the fuck did she just fight Ahsoka with a stupid stick, right? In Mandalorian season 2, the Ahsoka episode. If she has all these powers, why did she just sit there and not use them the entire time she was in detention? If she really does have these type of powers, if she's a Night Sister or a survivor, the Night Sister, whatever, she could do a lot to help herself out in some of these situations that she didn't. Which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, people in the chat are like, there's witches in Star Wars now. Yeah, apparently there's witch and witch magic. And
Well,
so
there has been since the Clone Wars. Well, there has been
here's
since before that, and then it got bastardized in the Clone Wars.
this is what I'm waiting for. All right. This is what I hope happens in the next episode. I hope with everything in me, when Ahsoka grabbed that ball map, that it melted on her hand,
Indiana Jones
and they
style.
does the exact same thing as they did in Return. Yeah, in Indiana Jones. So where the Nazi was like, oh, I can't say that word, but you know what I'm saying. He was like,
Why not? You can say it.
okay, and he's got the map on his hand, the staff of Ra on his hand, the temple. So
I don't think that's
it's a
going to
direct.
happen.
You don't think that because when she picked up the mat, her hand all burnt up. She was wearing a cloth, so maybe.
Well,
I
and,
just hope
and
that
also
happens.
she only grabbed half of it. The whole, I think you need the whole thing, but I, I'm not even going to give my theory because I've read leaks for it that I
Oh,
think
okay.
explain how it happens. So I don't even want to. I don't want to put it out there because I've already read that. So we'll see. But when it comes to Anakin, man, I just can't. I really just hope because this is not Anakin. This is not a Force ghost of Anakin. This is not an Anakin that just stumbled in the world between worlds. This is either a hallucination, a dark side manifestation from the sun. Like, there's a lot of things that it is that it's not actually Anakin, and I just can't wait for all these fucking people that are making these goddamn fan cams of Ahsoka and Anakin reuniting when it turns out that he's actually like fucking evil and is like trying to manipulate her and shit, and it's not actually him. That's gonna be the most fun part for me.
Well,
That's
I
what I
like
hope
that
happens.
too. It's like so. The here's the funny thing was when all what was his name Marok, whatever the freak that Inquisitor's name was. When all the videos came out that he's Star Killer, that he's evil Ezra, that he's an Anakin clone, and all those things came out. And I remember texting Ryan. I go, "Hey, I just heard that he's nothing but a big puff of smoke." And Ryan writes back, "LOL, that'll be hilarious." And then, um, and then it came out that he was nothing but a big fart in the wind. And then I was like, wow, I guess I got the right information. And Ryan's like, it's been out on Reddit for weeks, dude. Like wake up, Jay. What the freak is wrong with you? I was like, I'm so slow to these things.
So I put out I put out like my Monarch theory video over on on our Capos Live, and it was like, but I recorded that on a stream, and then like a day or two after that, the big leak came out. It was like, well, this is who he is. It was like, well, I'm still gonna put it out, right? Because you know what I'm still gonna put the video out and everything, even with
but I
the
know
full
what
knowledge
you
I
were
was
doing.
probably
Like,
gonna be wrong.
that's the thing is that right, but what you just went through all the different theories, but there was like people that were so set that this is Star Killer, and they were so excited to see this reveal, and it just was. And then it's like, you know what erased all that was when they saw Anakin. They were like, "Oh no!" Like somebody.
If it hadn't ended like that, I think this. I honestly think the episode would have been received differently. I do think it was the best episode, 100%. The mediocre combat removes most of the time for the cringe, terrible fucking dialogue. So just because of that, I do think it was the best episode by default. And there was some good stuff in it. I think Balon
Ray Stevenson is awesome, man.
He kills it. He's probably the most interesting, not just villain, probably the most interesting character that we've had in Disney Star Wars, to be honest with you. And I don't know what their plans were for his character. Obviously, R.I.P. Ray Stevenson, he passed away. So whatever plans they may have had for his character, can't happen now. I don't know if he's going to survive through the season. Who fucking knows? But like give him credit. I think he is good. He's intimidating. He's interesting. His performance is great. He really draws, like he captivates you. Unfortunately, no one else in the series really does, which is a fucking problem. But obviously, the big Anakin reveal at the end has the same people that got excited for a Deadeye's Luke Skywalker appearance at the end of Mandalorian, that to them, it made them forget about the terrible writing, the fucking dumb shit that they did, all the fucking problems with that plot, made everybody forget about that. So you have that temporarily with this Anakin Skywalker thing.
That's what I'm saying. There was a lot of clips out there of people when that Inquisitor just turned out to be smoke. They all were like, "No, I can't. Why would Disney do that? Why?" And then just moments later, they're like, "Anakin, yeah, he's back." So it's like literally just forgot all their videos and their theories and their hour-long live streams about who this person was, and hopefully, Disney being Disney will probably do the same thing with, like you said, with Anakin, like. Because literally Ahsoka's in the she's in the ocean drowning right now. So like this could just be another fart dream where he pulls out his lightsaber and she's like, "Oh my god, what are you doing?" And then like you said, like the robot just pulls her out of the water, and then that's the end of it. So he vaporizes into smoke. Oh man, I'm telling you though, man, because like they destroyed the map and now she's got it burned on her hand. They're like, we're gonna take that one symbol burned in your pinky, Ahsoka, and figure out how to get to where they went.
I'll just
how about the new ship between Sabine and Shin, because they were holding hands, like going through the
because she was like grabbing her when she was handcuffed. It's like everybody, like, just because it's Disney Star Wars, everybody thinks these people are gonna fucking scissor, right? Just because.
That's why it's funny to me. It's just so freaking funny to me now.
Maybe Anakin cuts off her hand now, says Nikki. Anakin should cut off one of her laku. That would be perfect. Just have a fucking lopsided head Ahsoka fucking for the rest of her time. That's what I want to see. It already looks like her laku been fucking chopped off. They're way too short. It looks stupid as shit. But anyway, that's a random aside. Did you hear what happened to Jimmy Fallon, Jay?
Of all late night talk show hosts, it would happen to Jimmy Fallon, wouldn't it? Not Steve Colbert or any other ones that I don't even remember. Is that his name?
Are you fucking buddy with him? Steve? Steven Colbert is his name. His proper name.
These allegations are wild for Jimmy Fallon.
Steve Colbert and Jim Kimmel.
I thought, yeah, it's like of all the people, I think Jimmy Fallon was the least hated. But apparently not, according to his staff.
Yeah, this is kind of wild. So let's get into this bullshit. So it's no secret that late night shows have been dying over the past several years. Their ratings have cratered. No one's tuning into them anymore. They're getting dominated by a cable TV show on Fox News with Greg Gutfeld. And it's been 4 months basically at this point since these late night shows have disappeared off the air after the writer's strike, because clearly these so-called comedians can't write their own jokes and no one has really missed them. And we even got the Strike Force 5. All these late night hosts joined up for a podcast to show just how uninteresting and unfunny they really are. But the whole point of this was to pay for their staff, to pay for their people who are out of work, their unemployed staffers right now because of the strike. And a lot of these guys, including Jimmy Fallon, had reportedly been paying out of their own pocket, some staff members, before they started this thing. Apparently, that's enough, because Jimmy Kimmel, a big report came out in Rolling Stone about his toxic workplace behavior. Report: NBC's The Tonight Show had nightmare work environment. Jimmy Fallon engaged in prima donna behavior. Oh my God, not prima donna behavior. Now, I'll make this clear. I'm not really a Jimmy Fallon fan. I don't necessarily care for him that much. I also don't hate him as much as some of the other ones, but I will never get out of my head him singing about Christmas time and getting in line for a booster, during all this propaganda during COVID, all this bullshit. But it doesn't matter how much propaganda you push. It doesn't matter if you pay your staff while there's a writer's strike. It doesn't matter if you do a podcast to try to pay all your staff. That is not enough for Jimmy Fallon. The NBC's Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon suffered from a nightmare work environment that led to a revolving door of showrunners, according to a new report that cited two current and several former employees. So it's like 14 former employees and 2 current ones. They said host Jimmy Fallon's behavior was so erratic, with tales of unpredictable hissy fits and bullying, that some employees ended up in therapy. They also report that he came to work drunk and that they smelled alcohol in his breath, that he yelled at them, that he was mean to them. I don't know. I could definitely see all of this being true and him being a complete asshole. I could also see a bunch of these sensitive little bitches being sensitive little bitches and be like, I can't believe that someone's being demanding at my job, that my boss said something mean to me. So I'm not really sure which side here. We do know that Jimmy Fallon has already fucking apologized. He did a big Zoom call where he said, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to embarrass anybody. You guys are just the best, blah, blah, blah. I never wanted anything like this to happen. I'm sorry for any mistakes I've made. What do you make of this, Jay? As a big Jimmy Fallon fan yourself, just for the record.
I think it's freaking hilarious. But he does have like one of the better bands on his show, The Roots, if they're still there. I think if any of them, they would come out and say something, that it was a toxic environment. But I think it fits his MO to show up at work drunk. I mean, that's just, I think that is, that's probably true. But
I don't particularly care about that as long as he can do his job.
I will say this: the original photo that you showed of all those late night leftist talk show hosts really wasn't much diverse, So maybe that's why nobody cares.
They joked about it.
No diversity and pushing the jab with cringy jab songs and all that stuff like that, and these guys are. I don't know anybody who watches this stuff anymore. Johnny Carson set that was like a special unique thing back in the day. Like people loved Johnny Carson, and then it just kind of, and then Jay Leno, I think, kind of carried the torch a little bit. But after that, it's just like these guys just literally turned into activists. Like you had Jimmy Fallon had Donald Trump on his show. And
he was the only one of the guys that had Trump on a couple years ago and got a lot of heat for it. Yeah.
But didn't he apologize for it or just say, yeah, I probably won't have that again or something like that? But still.
That's the thing to me about this apology. Jimmy Fallon apologizes about a lot. I looked up Jimmy Fallon apology, and there was a fucking shit ton of articles like Jimmy Fallon apologizes for offensive joke on The Tonight Show. Jimmy Fallon apologizes for blackface on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
You like all this stuff. So
it's almost like he's found his routine for, some of the stupid things he does. So it's kind of weird. Like people in the chat are talking about Conan. Conan and Brian got like
he got pushed out of there for sure.
Like he was. They just were like they don't like this guy. Like just get him out and he'll just do his own thing.
Now,
So,
to be fair, I am totally fine with Jimmy Fallon being canceled, but it's just because of that terrible ride at Universal Studios. That stupid, Jimmy Fallon Escape from New York or whatever. I went on that for the first time. Jay's like, we got to do this. We got to do this. It is so stupid. It is a dumb premise. It's a retarded ride. So I think he should be canceled just for that ride alone, but not any of this stuff.
Yeah. I did. I dragged Ryan only because I think Melanie Mack was with us and she's never been. And I was like, look, there's no wait for this ride because nobody likes it. It's the only ride at Universal Studios with literally like 5 minutes to 0 minute wait time. And you go in, and if you don't know what the ride is, it's called Escape from New York. And you sit in a movie theater and you put on 3D glasses and you just drive around New York and you race him while he's in his little race car through like New York. So that's basically it. So when the ride was over, I was like, hey Ryan, what did you think? It's like, it's effing stupid. I'm never going on this thing again. I was like, all right, well, at least you did it one time. So when articles like this come up, you have something to talk about.
Yeah.
So yeah, bring back Twister. It used to be the Twister ride.
And I could, at the end of the day, I can certainly see Jimmy Fallon like being a fucking asshole behind the scenes or doing whatever. I could totally see that being legit. I don't know. I think there's an absolutely equal chance that the reason it was 14 former employees and only 2 current employees are because it's just people who are bitter, who couldn't hack it, who got upset because somebody yelled at them, either because they were doing their job slowly or wrong or whatever. Sometimes jobs can get stressful and intense, and sometimes people can be absolute fucking pussies about it. So who knows? But one thing is for sure, it'll be an interesting topic for the next Strike Force 5 podcast.
Has anybody listened to any one of those except for the cringy clip that they posted out?
I listened. So I did a review of it last Saturday with Chrissy and
right?
Who Are These Podcasts. Yeah. And we listened to some clips. It's just boring. Like they didn't have anything to talk about. So some people might say that about this show, I suppose. But it was boring to me.
Let me ask you a question. Do you have to pay to listen to that podcast, or it's just on?
It's just on Spotify. So
I guess they got advertisers to cover it, I guess.
They do have advertisers, but they're all, you don't know who the advertisers are? George Clooney's tequila company.
Get the freak out of here.
Ryan Reynolds Mint Mobile and Ryan Reynolds Aviation Gin. Those were the sponsors that I heard.
Well, you got 2 alcoholic companies, Jimmy Fallon being accused of being drunk all the time. It's right on brand, man. It is right on brand. I'm surprised. Yeah, Gung Ho Max says sponsored by Pfizer. I'm surprised that wasn't it.
I think that when you talk about back in the heydays of late night or whatever you want to call it, to me, it was Leno and Letterman growing up. And, obviously Letterman became a little bit more of an activist towards the end of his career and after, obviously. But for the most part, I think when you look at all that, the point for what those guys were doing was just to make people laugh. That's what it was about. It wasn't to take a political stance. And when it was political season, guess what? They shit on both sides. And like that, at least that's the way I perceived it.
Same with Saturday Night Live. They laughed at every president. So
yeah, really until Obama. Like that was like what changed. Saturday Night Live changed in the Obama era. But nowadays, it does not seem that way at all. When you tune into Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel and stuff like this, it definitely seems like it's very one-sided. And the point is to push an agenda instead of actually just entertain you. That's why people have tuned out.
Absolutely. You know what else kind of Hollywood hasn't done them any favors. It used to be a time when they had a certain guest on because they were releasing a film that that you might be interested in, and it was cool to hear them like tell some behind the scenes stories and stuff of maybe like what's going on with that film, or they got like an exclusive clip of what was coming out. Hollywood has done so much damage to themselves that we don't care what they have to say anymore. All you got to do is just follow them on social media. You don't have to stay up late night to watch them talk about, hey, go watch my film. It's coming out in the next few days. So that's another reason.
Well, that's
why
one of the
people
things
don't
they've
care.
complained about, right? During this strike, that they can't go on the late night shows to promote their movies.
Yeah.
Well, no one's watching anyway, so I don't think it has
That's
too
the
much of an
thing.
impact.
Like nobody cares. I mean, just look at the award shows. Like talking about the worst ratings in the history of television. Just look at the ratings of award shows. You needed Will Smith to come up and slap another black man just to find it interesting. Like that's where they've become on award shows. You needed that. You needed that type of stuff to happen for people to even talk about it at this point. So
Over on Rumble, Vault 95 Survivor says, "Hey Google, sign me up for a Geeks and Gamers monthly subscription." There you go. I don't know if that worked or
nice.
not, but awesome. Thank you very much. Gremlin for $10. My timeline on Shit War is a bit off, but isn't Vader still alive in that timeline? So how does Annie come back? No. Again, a lot of people are confused about the timeline. Ahsoka takes place, let's just say, around 9 ABY. Let's just say that.
9 years after Return of the Jedi.
9 years after the Battle of Yavin would be ABY. But yes, significantly after Return of the Jedi. But
So
there's a lot of
Luke is
confusion
alive,
about that
Han
timeline.
is alive, Leia is alive. All those
Correct.
people are in this universe that she could have called up and go, hey, you guys defeated the Emperor and the Death Star. We got another threat out there. You want to give us a hand? Problem solved.
No, we're just gonna go.
Falcon
We're gonna
out
go
there,
take
man.
this. Yeah, we're gonna do it by ourselves. Take on the space whales. Blake Barrett for 2. Have a month of Disney Plus on me. Thank you, Blake. Tobias Nexus for 5. Do ad tiers still make money if the ads don't play due to active ad blockers, or do they need to fully play an ad to make money off it? I don't really understand. I'm not quite sure.
Look at everyone in the chat. Like, what is ABY? So about 7 years
I'm dealing
after
with. Yes, I'm dealing with fucking normies. I know. ABY is after the Battle of Yavin. That is the accepted time frame when you're referring to
when was the
Star
Battle
Wars.
what movie was that close to?
The Battle of Yavin is fucking A New Hope.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Hey, you got to clear it up for people.
None.
Yeah.
Dealing with
About
normies.
7 years after Return of the Jedi, everyone.
Yes. And again, well, five, more like 5 years or something like that. But
Okay.
yes, so either way, the timeline is really like, we don't know, because Mando season 1 took place in 9 ABY. And we've had all this different stuff happen. And it was assumed that they were a couple years off because Jon Favreau at one point said, well, Grogu's been with Luke anywhere between 0 and 2 years. And then in another interview, he said, well, I don't think we're quite to 10 ABY yet. So all of this shit's taken place in this like 1 year period, according to him. But I don't know. Anyways, get to this. Hot Dice for $1.99. Oh, wow. Disney Plus is $1.99. Welp, see you later.
Yeah.
A Marcellus for 5. Ryan, a fan did a 4K HDR upgrade of the 2003 Clone Wars series. He also had Dolby Digital Plus, sounds and looks fantastic. I can email you the link. Okay, I'll take a look at that. That'd be great. Crime Sweepers, the web series for $1.99. Strain, push, push, plop, plop, wipe, wipe, flush. Okay. Japanese Demon Lord of Beer, Lucifer for 5. Lawman Base Reeves is a new Sheridanverse show. Ah, there you go. Holy Nuckfuts for $1.99. Thank you. Ethan Flash for 5. Ryan, with your wealth of anime knowledge, Flash needs you to guest on Flashcast tomorrow and talk One Piece. I don't think that's going to be me. Let's see. Where the fuck am I? I think Ryan loves all these Star Wars shows. No, just because I know things does not mean I like them. I can still know things. So, because I'm
Well, apparently
cursed.
now I've learned that I should be better at knowing things when it comes to Star Wars if I'm going to talk about it. So, yeah. So it is good to know things. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think there's like I get what you're doing, and I understand why you're having other people on your show that do have that like base knowledge, and you're coming from the perspective of normie. I can also understand um from the other side, I also can understand the perspective of somebody who's like they're looking for reviews of the show, and it's a review of the show by somebody that doesn't know like what they're talking about in terms of it, like a lot of the stuff with it. So a lot of their criticisms for you that has consumed all of it, you're like, what are you talking about? That can be frustrating. Like legitimately it can be frustrating. So
My
I
comment
kind of
section
understand
is
that perspective.
it's just all the people that hate our live stream. It's just like, how can you even watch the show if you haven't watched Rebels? Do your homework. Like it's just constant, man. It's like one right after another. They're like, I hate this live stream. You guys didn't even watch Clone Wars or Rebels. How dare? And I'm like, there's 3 other people on the panel that have, and they talk. It's like, what the heck? Oh well.
Yeah, and there's this perception that it's a um yeah. Yeah, you get other people on the panel to take the heat for you, Jay. That's what I heard.
I know, but it's still directed towards me. But it is what it is. I'm not worried about it. I'm having fun. Listen, I've said this from the beginning. Ever since Book of Boba Fett, probably maybe a little even before, Star Wars has become like some of the best comedic experience for me now, like ever, like I've ever seen. I don't look at it as Star Wars anymore. It's like a completely different. It's more like I don't know what it is. It's like a Spaceballs thing of like what Star Wars used to be. When they introduced the spin move in Boba Fett, that was like the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. You literally filmed that. You literally took it to the editors. You literally watched that. You literally said this is good, and you literally put it out. I'm done. It's like it's a parody of itself. I mean, it's just And now lightsabers are it is they're pointless. So what's the point? What's the point in having the Force? I mean, Shin could have like easily Force choked Sabine. It's just you can just go on and on and on. So I'm enjoying it for what it is.
There you
There you
go. Abaru for 5. Goodman was also in the Cloverfield movie. The trailer reminded me of it too. Ah, there you go.
Mm.
CJ for 5. Do you think Sabine's wrist blaster was a reference to Mara Jade? More nostalgia. No, I think it was just Mandalorian weapons. That's all. Holy Nuckfuts for 199. Hi Jay. Hi Ryan. Hello.
Hey, what's up, man?
Uh,
Our Florida brother. That's our Florida man.
CJ for 5 with fake Anakin Ahsoka. They could be trying to do Exar Kun scene with Luke in Jedi Academy trilogy to nostalgia bait that too. Um, I I don't know about that. I don't know how much. I kind of push back on that a little bit. Although I understand what you're saying in terms of like the manifestation of Exar Kun and like what's going on in Luke's brain and everything, but I don't think that's it. Project Taco for 5. Hey guys, this question has been lingering on my mind. Did my girl Steph get scolded by Jeremy for saying the F slur on TNME? I don't know. I didn't even
don't
know
think
she
so.
said it, but
It was
yeah,
like the last 2 minutes of the show. She was reading locals super chats, and it kind of slipped out. No, he didn't. He didn't scold her.
there you go. I can't believe I haven't said it live, to be honest with you.
She was like, that show was like, dude, when you left, we went like another 2.5 hours.
Yeah, thank
We
God I
went,
left when I did.
it went
Holy
like
shit.
4.5 hours. So by the time we got, and like, we were supposed to, I was gonna play like video games afterwards, but they didn't finish till like we were what 12:30 chat. Like it just got. And so he's like, all right, read these quick stuff. So Steph was just like powering through, and it just kind of slipped out.
Yeah, for as much as I say that word like on an everyday basis, I'm shocked that I've never said it live.
But in
But I've got my
actuality,
live filter.
in actuality, the truth really is, since you guys are kind of like laughing that she said that word, she actually said maggot. So just so you guys know, that's the truth. She
Oh,
said maggot, like the worm that you find in your trash can. So I want to make that and put that on record.
I learn something new every day. Tobias Nexus for 5. The best Vader appearance was in Fallen Order, period. Siri goes at him and he literally just tosses her over his shoulder with 2 fingers. Slaglust for 2. That one guy's face is smaller than Dick Masterson's. Thank you. Blake Barrett for 2. Worst of all, Jimmy Fallon misgendered his staff. Really? That would be surprised if that was in there somewhere. Christian Rocker for 199. Jay, did you hear John Goodman is alive?
I did. I learned something today.
Well, when you said that, I was like, oh, is he dead? Like, we better make sure he's dead. He's still alive. He's kind of old, but Garfield's
maybe his career just died, and that's what I was referring to.
I just don't think he wants to do a lot anymore. Garfield's Bizarre Adventure for 5. Yo, guys, what generated more traction with the Twitter weirdos? Ryan's Batman review or As a Starfield rant? As a Starfield rant, I think has blown up more completely in the gaming streamer space. 100%.
A lot of people watched Ryan's Batman review, and like once they got the full context, they were kind of like, all right, this is a nothing burger.
I feel like mine ended up.
You were probably more TikTok famous.
Mine ended up in a little bit different space, like
the
political space.
Right.
With a lot of political shows saying that I went on a big racist rant. You know, like
we're definitely on Black Twitter's top search engine.
Yes, Black Twitter fucking hated me, and they still do. To be fair, now Mexican Twitter hates me. So it is what it is.
I think Diz Twitter still likes you.
Disney Twitter?
Yeah.
I'm sure they love me. Brent Twanquin for 5. Best way to start my birthday. Hey, happy birthday, Brent. Wildman Beyond for 5. You guys find it very weird this scandal with Jimmy came out the day of the Rolling Stones launch and video with Sydney Sweeney? No, I think it was probably in the works for a while based on the report. But I don't think it was like, hey, let's wait till we do this random other thing. I just think two separate things. Vault Survivor for $1. Ryan, the anime Mad Bull 34 awaits you. Cop running hookers, smoking NYC degenerates, and making fun of his minority partner. Somebody said that before. That sounds interesting. Real quick, we got to I know we talked a lot about it earlier, but we might as well just refresh a little bit because we didn't actually share any of these articles. But we got to talk about Disney a little bit. Just at the end here. Yesterday, if you were watching this channel, you probably were watching our reactions as Disney stock dropped under $80 per share briefly. It's like $79.84, something like that. Things just continue to get worse, it seems like, for Disney. It doesn't matter if you're talking about the box office, streaming, the theme parks, all this stuff. And now all the legal action. They've got investors and shareholders that are suing them for misrepresenting what a failure Disney Plus actually is. And on the other side, their legal battle with the state of Florida isn't going very well. In fact, they just recently dropped almost all of the business-related complaints they had against the state of Florida and Ron DeSantis. There's only one active still, and that's their infringing on freedom of speech. I don't think they've got much of a chance of that doing anything in court either, as most actual legal analysts that are taking a fair look at this have said. And of course, their stock price has been slashed in terms of where people think it can recover to. We're starting to hear these rumors about them selling to Apple. All the while, it looks like Bob Iger is getting so much heat for the way he treated everything when he stepped down, the way Bob Chapek was treated while he was there, basically just like a bitch. And it feels like all of Disney's problems are coming to the surface within the last, say, year or so in every aspect of their business. Obviously, Jay, you keep up with the theme parks a lot.
It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. And as far as the theme park side goes, even the Disney adults were kind of predicting that if they don't change things like quickly, people are just going to choose not to go, because what they did, like when they reopened, excuse me, they introduced this thing called Genie Plus, which is basically turned the rides into like a carnival ticket system, where if you wanted to get a fast pass or skip the lines, you had to buy Genie Plus, which could roughly cost you $25 per person. So just think of a family of 4. So now that's $100 in. Then if you wanted to ride a ride and skip the normal lines, it's another $20 per person. So it was just a it was just massive, and then they hiked their ticket prices way up, and so they just pretty much pushed out lower and middle class families completely out of that park. And while they were doing that, Universal and SeaWorld and Busch Gardens were like, hey, we got a cheaper ticket over here. It's like, and this is different. This is all different. And when they had their earnings call back when Chapek was there, they were saying, look at all the money we're making at our parks. Look at all the money. But eventually, like they said that it's gonna come around and bite you in the butt. Now it has. This past summer, they released a ticket that was like literally like $52 a day, which is like they've never done that over
Wild.
summer, because summer is like that's their busiest time of the year. And they asked Bob Iger himself, like, what do you think the problem is with your parks? He goes, well, it's hot. It's hot over the summer. But if you go back years and years and years and years, it's like summer's always been their biggest. It was
It
hotter.
was really
maybe
fucking
summer.
hot this year, yeah.
But Universal did not report the same type of, of people not showing up because it was too hot. So there was a lot of like people choosing to go somewhere else with that. And I will say this. I think all of what Disney was like pushing, what we were seeing like in that, what was that, Reimagine Tomorrow stuff, which is
Mhm.
all this agenda stuff. I don't think it really hit the mainstream of normies until they got involved with these lawsuits with the governor. And then all that stuff started showing up on like not only local news, but in other states, like in major news. Like none of that stuff was really talked about until these lawsuits happened. Because I know for me personally, like just hanging out with family now, they had no idea all this stuff was going on with Disney until it showed up on some of their favorite Fox News channels or wherever they watch their news from. And now they're asking a lot of questions. They're like, I don't want to go there if that's what's going on in this, in this town. So DeSantis really brought that to a light, and people are saying, we're gonna go somewhere else. So,
I
and that's
totally
their bread.
agree.
But that's their. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. But that's their bread and butter. That's been their bread and butter for the next past few years. Like billions of dollars made while everything else was in the red. So you
Yeah,
lose
I
that, you
think
lose
their
it all.
biggest problem across the board, because it's not like they're just having problems one aspect. It's everywhere. Whether it's the box office disappointments, whether it's the streaming problems, 20 million people unsubscribing within the last year. When you look at the attendance, this is a brand that was built on being family friendly. That's what it was. That's what it always kind of has been. And when you show families what your values actually are, that has nothing to do with being family friendly, when you're greeted with fucking bearded men in dresses at a princess boutique at Disneyland, when you're encouraging all this shit pushed in children's shows, admittedly, the not so secret gay agenda, they're trying to indoctrinate your kids. They admitted that in those Zoom calls. All of this stuff turns families off. And when that is your core demographic, what you've built your brand on being, it might have a very big impact. And it's going to take a while before those people are willing to come back, or willing to put on Disney Plus and let their kids watch, or willing to fork out all this cash to go to a place and spend, thousands of dollars on a trip to Disney. And I think all of that stuff has just piled on over the past couple of years. And certainly their legal battle with the state of Florida, when it wasn't like DeSantis went after them. They went after a law that was being passed in Florida.
Yeah.
They decided to take a stand. Bob Chapek, after saying we don't want to get involved, he bent the knee. He got on his knees in front of a rainbow-colored gun and said, we apologize. We'll do everything to fight the mean old state of Florida. We want to make sure that teachers have the right to sexualize kindergartners. When you see a company take a stand like that, you shouldn't be surprised when a lot of their core support drops away.
100%.
There you go.
You said it perfectly. It's
It's
going to be interesting to watch, though, their next move, because they just keep constantly passing the blame. That's the thing. No one's at your theme parks, Bob. Well, it's hot. Well, what about this? Well, we're making some changes. Well, what about this stuff going on here? Well, we're going to have to do. It's just a constant pass the blame. I'm not on. Now they hired a crisis manager, I guess, to prep Bob Iger for any time he speaks. So he doesn't say anything about the right. You got the people on the writer's strike and whatever criticizing Disney, and it's they. He's on the Titanic right now. And he's still ordering steak. Put it that way.
Yeah, just letting the band play.
Yeah, he's just letting the band play.
Very for $10. Did y'all see the new Avatar: The Last Airbender movie will not use the original voice actor because they want ethnically accurate voice actors? More BS from Nickelodeon. Shockingly, I didn't see that news about that anime.
Not surprised.
Cool Gamer, welcome to the 199. Tim P, member for 6 months, 199, and then a bunch of G&G long way corns. Thank you. Just Nova for 10. Off topic. I was written up recently for apparently intimidating others, unbeknownst to me. Now, best compliment since voluntarily separating from 11 years in the United States Marine Corps. Keep entertaining and being authentic. Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate that. And then Just Nova for another 199 says Disney needs taco trucks at every ride. It'd probably make the wait go easier.
Yeah. Make more money too.
Mm-hmm. A lot of fatties in line there too. I'm sure they'd eat that shit up.
You know, when you're at Universal, you didn't really see many little
not as many
scooters, you know?
scooters.
Yeah,
there was a couple. I went to I went real late the other day to Horror Nights just to kind of check it out for a little while. There was a couple scooters there. That was kind of stupid. Fucking ban those people, man. Nobody should be scooting around Halloween Horror Nights.
That's true. It's not as bad as it used to be because they were like, you can only get a scooter unless you have a doctor's note.
Yeah. Ban the fats and ban the fats and the cripples.
Yeah.
It'll make my experience better. Let's see. Where are we at? It just gets in the way. It's like when somebody takes a stroller into a place where clearly they should have left it outside, and it's just making a fucking chaos for everyone. Yeah. That's how basically every scooter interaction I have at Universal or Disney. Well, I haven't been to Disney in fucking years and years, because I should say at Universal.
It's all the same.
Mm-hmm. All right. I think we're all caught up with all this shit. Let me check. Make sure we're good over on Rumble. A Vault Survivor for another $1. I remember when Rush Limbaugh used to point out, it didn't matter how many flops Disney crapped out, they always had theme parks to keep them in business. R.I.P. to him. R.I.P. Rush, 100%. But I think that's it, Jay. What do you got going on?
Not too much today. Might play some Sea of Thieves later, but gonna be a family day. Gonna hang out with them and stuff. So kind of chill. I know you got FNT. You know who the guest is?
I mean, they're all over in the UK, so.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know. So I don't know what's going on.
Disparu and Drinker and all of them could be hanging out at the. That's right. They're all in the UK.
I'll be honest. I don't know who the guest is going to be.
Did you miss Did you see all the pictures and stuff? It looked kind of fun.
I mean, I saw a lot of them. I didn't get to see any of the streaming stuff. I tuned in once to the stream when X-Ray Girl took over the phone, and it was a fucking blurry mess.
Yeah.
So I watched a little bit of it, but it absolutely looked like a lot of fun. I'm glad a lot of the fans in the UK got to meet up with them. I wish I could have been there. You know, if things had worked out a little bit different way, or if it was a different time, I might have been able to go. But not in the cards this year. I would like to go over there at some point in time, though. 100%.
Yeah, same. I think so. Is it going to be earlier today because it's in the UK, or no? They're going to try to keep it around the same
I was told same time, so I hope it's the same time. So we'll see. 4 o'clock Eastern. That's what it should be. Whatever time that is in the UK, probably like 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night. I don't know. But, and yeah, let's see. What does this say? Ryan didn't get the memo, but again, he makes vids nonstop, so Ryan just doesn't have time. You need a break, Ryan. I need the opposite of break. I need to work harder, to be honest with you. That's what I need. So with all that being said, appreciate you guys hanging out. Hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you on FNT a little bit later. And Geeks and Gamers Daily will be back on Monday. We might have some interesting stuff going on, so I don't know what exactly that stream is going to look like, but it will happen on Monday, same time. So thank you guys. Appreciate you hanging out with us, and we will talk to you later. Peace.